What's up, everybody? As promised, this is my top books of 2023. These are my favorites. I didn't include every single book that I rated 4 out of 5 stars because that's a lot, and I had majority of my books were above 4 out of 5 stars, and yeah, I didn't want to sit here all day and talk about like the same books over and over. These are just the ones I think stood out the most. When I first I did a video on this already, and I only had 7, so I didn't want it to look weird because I had like 7 good books and then 10 really bad books. Even though I've read far more better books than good. So what I did was I added 3, and we got 10. The last one had 10. So yeah. Now the first couple of books I have here are like the ones that I think make the cut for really really good. I wasn't going to include them, but I am anyway. There's one in particular I really wanted to talk about. I don't even think I've done a review like individually for it. So yeah, and there's actually a few books in this stack that I have not done, but you'll kind of see. Like I said, if you follow me on Goodreads, you can kind of go look and see what books I rated 4 out of 5 stars. Some quick examples was like I read the very first Spooksville this year. I gave it 4 out of 5, but I don't think that it's like necessarily one of my favorites. I just think it's simply a 4 out of 5 star book. Um, there's a book called The Curse of the New Kid from the Shiver series. It got a 4 out of 5 stars, but in an entirely different reason why it's a 4 out of 5 stars. It has one of the weirdest endings of any books that I've ever read that I enjoyed. Like it's typically one of those type of endings that I hate. Um, but yeah, so if you guys follow me on Goodreads or Instagram, you guys can see that I gave a lot of stuff 4 out of 5 stars, and they're still not necessarily my favorite. And these bottom ones here could kind of be interchangeable. Not so much as the first 3, but definitely. And as I'm looking, I already got it wrong, but yeah, these are kind of somewhat in order, but not really. I might change them as I go. But yeah, let's go ahead and get started and knock this out, guys. Okay. So the running in at number 10 is a Elevator to Nowhere. And again, it isn't going to be a top 10 every year. I don't think it's just coincidence. That there's 10 bad and 10 good. So yeah, Elevator to Nowhere. The elevator storylines were a lot better than the actual storylines where this guy is in your house chasing you. Most of the endings on there are kind of the same. But the elevator storyline is really, really good and really solid. This cover's terrible. One of the worst covers ever. But yeah, the storyline is really good. There's elevators that like take you to the like upside down world and different things like that. Not super memorable. I don't think I'm gonna remember this next year, but yeah, Elevator to Nowhere cracks in at number 10. Number 9 is Little Shop of Horrors. Also wanted to say like it's weird to have Give Yourself Goosebumps books because Give Yourself Goosebumps isn't necessarily like my favorite type of Goosebumps book. This is just kind of my least favorite format, but when you get good ones, you get good ones. This one's really good too. There is there's a scene with a previous villain in this book, and it's really really awesome. The wise guys are my favorite thing ever. There is no way to escape them. There's scenes of you flying, becoming a superhero. That's all cool. Um, yeah, I really enjoyed all that. I think the wise guy storyline is my favorite by far. Flying around is pretty cool. There's scenes under the basement that's I know Michael Goosebumps fan done a review on this, and he loved like there's like Dracula and stuff like that under the basements, and that it was okay. That was like my least favorite storyline. So this one, like Elevator to Nowhere, had one really good storyline and one okay storyline from what I remember. Again, I read this at the beginning of the year, so yeah. Now, going into the one that I really wanted to talk about is Invaders from the Big Screen. I'll say right up front, this is one that I don't think gets enough love. I read this year around February, and it's weird. I went and seen Megan in theaters, and this was like I like to relate books to what I'm doing in real life, and this was very relatable to like haunted movie theater or something. And this is awesome. There are three main storylines. One is where you go to this like haunted house and it comes to life. It's called like House of a Thousand Screams or something. There is one called um, something Blastovision, and it's where you go and you see like a giant gorilla, and then there's another one where it's like a James Bond like um, thing. Oh yeah, the ape one is called Going Ape in Blastovision. The third one is a Doctor Z versus Doctor Aqua, I think, and that one is again a kind of a parody of James Bond or things like that. And again, this is really good. It's rare that all three storylines are really good. I think that the haunted house storyline is really, really the best one, but the other two are still really good. I think this is one of the underrated Give Yourself Goosebumps books. This is one of the better ones that I've read this year. And yeah, definitely one of my favorites. Definitely like within the top three that I've read so far. I haven't read all of the Give Yourself Goosebumps books. And I haven't done an individual review for this, so hopefully I'll get around to doing that next year. But yeah, Invaders from the Big Screen, really, really solid. Oh, by the way, so far all of these I gave 4 out of 5 stars. And then we got Full Moon Halloween, which is insane. There is scenes of people eating raw meat that I'm sure will probably kill you if you did that in real life. Yeah, this is awesome. This is absolutely amazing. Creepy neighbors or creepy teacher neighbors invite you to or this isn't a Give Yourself, but invite these kids to a Halloween party, and they want to prove that one of them is a werewolf. And yeah, the guy's insane. Bonus points for this book because I got it at Goodwill for 59 cents, and it is signed by R.L. Stine to Logan. My name's not Logan, but yeah, one of the better Nightmare Room books that I've read so far. Absolutely amazing. The episode for this I did not like. I gave it like a 2 out of 5 stars. But the actual book is really insane, really gross. It's awesome. Highly recommend this for Halloween. I didn't love the ending, but it was good. Throughout the rest of the book's really good too. So yeah, 4 out of 5 stars for me. Full Moon Halloween. All right, now let me kind of organize this little stack here a little bit. And as I was saying, I think I did it right. I was talking about like not doing these in order, and I said that the other one I kind of made a mistake. I think that's right. I do think that the Full Moon Halloween's a little bit better than Invaders from the Big Screen. I was kind of looking at it and I was kind of contemplating it on switching them around. But as I was looking at it, again, all of these could be like swapped around until the end. We get to the end, I'll show you. All right, we are at the Fear Street, The Lost Girl. I read this back in February. This has an insane scene where a guy gets eaten by a horse. I'm gonna cut right to the chase because that is an insane scene. I don't like horses, but overall, other than that gory, gross part, this book's really good. Very engaging. This is basically I can't say that. This book's really good. It's basically like a revenge story from 2 different time perspectives, and yeah, that's all I'm really going to say about this. I haven't done a review on this either. I don't even know how I'm going to do it without spoiling anything. Highly recommend this. This is easily the best Fear Street novel series that I read. Yeah, I gave this 4 out of 5 stars too. The only thing I had issues with was the ending was kind of complicated, but other than that, this book's insane. Absolutely love it. 4 out of 5 stars. Again, the horse scene is really gross and awesome. Amazing. I'm set these on top here. Okay. All right. So our next book is one that I can actually honestly say that I probably overhyped a little bit. I give this a 5 out of 5 stars, and looking back, I don't know if it's that perfect, but it's still the best Spine Tinglers book that I've read so far. It's about this kid getting a weird book for a birthday. That spoke volumes to me, because it's basically, that's what I give for birthdays and Christmas. I love books. So yeah, and the book has these illustrations of like very macabre different things, and it's absolutely amazing. um, this thing comes back after they read these words, and basically kind of like slap you from Goosebumps. This thing pops up and he just wreaks havoc. But a lot more dangerous, I would say, or maybe as dangerous. Yeah. It does get a little confusing with what this thing is able to do. It basically could possess people and turn them into boogeymen. Um, and totally missed opportunity for this thing to travel under the bed. I read last month called the Bailey School Kids series called Boogeymen Don't Play Football or something. And there's scenes of him like going under the bed, or like supposedly going under the bed. That should have been in here. I'm still going to stick with my 5 out of 5 stars rating. But I do think I overhyped it just a little bit. But it's still one of my favorites. I can honestly read this again. And I don't really reread anything. So yeah, Boogie's Back for Blood. 5 out of 5 stars. This is the first 5-star on this list. So yeah, I don't even know what number we're on, but Boogie's Back for Blood, awesome. All right, we're coming into some buddy reads now. This is Richie Tanker's The Q6, The Mall. I'm actually looking back, and The Lost Girl was a buddy read too, so kind of forgot. But The Mall, super creepy. One of the weirdest villains, super creepy villain. It's basically this guy like spying on people, or girl. I'll give you some ideas, because this book was impossible to guess. This is my second Richie Tanker's The Cusick book that I read this year, and it was absolutely amazing. I loved everything aside from the fact that the killer was kind of basic. But I mean, this girl finds a dead body in this garbage bag. Yeah, this felt like a little bit more adult themed than any of these point horror type books. So yeah, this one I gave it a 4 out of 5 stars. So again, these aren't in order. I thought that they would be, but yeah, 4 out of 5 stars for me. The villain is creepy. There's a scene where he buys a muffin from this girl, and he tells her something like, "I could taste you on the muffin," or something. It's creepy. It's really weird. Very plausible. Yeah, 4 out of 5 stars for me. All right, we're down to another 4 out of 5 stars here. This is Why I Quit the Babysitters Club from the Bone Chiller series. I had to include a Bone Chillers, and I decided to include the best one that I read this year, and that being Why I Quit the Babysitters Club. I did read one called The Squawker, Night of the Squawker, The Night Squawker. It was good too, but this was head over heels better. I gave it a 4 out of 5 stars too, just like this one. But this one's insane. I love it. The only thing that I can complain about is there's a twist in this book, but it makes sense with how a certain villain is defeated. And yeah, that's all I'm going to say. This one's a rare one to find, unfortunately. I kind of wish it was bad just for everyone else's sake, so that way I wouldn't recommend it, but I do. I actually had trouble, like, when I finished this, I was like, I'm kind of working on rankings as I go, and I kind of go back and forth with this one and Franken Turkey, because I feel like this one had some qualities that were better than Franken Turkey, and, I don't know, Franken Turkey just had a little bit more heart to it. But yeah, Why I Quit the Babysitters Club, I give it 4 out of 5 stars. There's some gross scenes that involving refrigerators. There's this creepy family driving around in a hearse. The baby's amazing in this. There's scenes where the baby tries to break out of the crib, and there's like missing parts of the crib, I think. I could get this a little confused with, there's a Goosebumps episode called Strained Peas. So it's kind of like that, but this is awesome. And Strained Peas is really good too. So some people might not like that, but yeah, this is awesome. 4 out of 5 stars for me. All right, we are at The New Boy, one of the most boring covers in the Fear Street series. and one of the more boring titles in the Fear Street series. I did not look forward to reading this. I thought it was going to be dumb, or at least slow. But a good Fear Street every so often is really good. This is actually awesome. This is probably like my top 3 original Fear Street books. And it's just a basic killer. We go into perspective of this guy here, his mind. I don't even remember what his name is, but he's basically like Ted Bundy with a little bit of Patrick Bateman, Norman Bates, all of that tied in together, and it's really cool. This is the closest thing I think that I've ran into in a Fear Street book with a serial killer. He's very misogynistic, but it's the way he's written is just amazing. Like Stein really studied his serial killer stuff. There's scenes where he's talking to his mom, and she's basically the reason why he's like this. It's implied. But I love the scenes going into him, like into his head, and when he talks, and different things like that. There's also some parts that I really enjoy that are just kind of like normal, but like he hates a lot of women, and he like wants like a proper girl, like, you know, innocent and none, basically no TikTok girls is basically what I like, the girls that he doesn't like. And he wants like a regular proper girl, but there's scenes in here where that I really appreciate, where he's talking about like these guys are kind of like catching on to him and stuff. And he basically says in his head, he's like, I'm not worried about no guys, you know, I'll take care of them too. So it's basically like he'll do anything he wants to get his way. And he also says like he has like temper tantrums where like that's no way to behave. I'll always remember that when like in the books where this girl is doing something bad, he like says that's no way to behave. You know, it's just so really weird, fascinating. They talk about suicide, where one of the girls ends up dying, and the possible cause of death is just, you know, suicide. And the word suicide is actually mentioned by name, and most of these Fear Street books don't even say that. There's one called The Surprise Party where it's heavily implied. But yeah, The Boy Next Door, I highly recommend it. It's awesome, absolutely amazing. I recommend it all day. Again, top 3 probably Fear Street book for me. Yeah. And then we got my favorite book that I've ever buddy read, probably ever, and this is called Overdue. And I was overdue to read this book. I'm sorry. Yeah, this book's absolutely amazing. It takes place in a creepy library. There's this killer going around putting books behind people that get attacked. For example, there's this girl that gets burned with acid, and they leave Phantom of the Auditorium there. There's multiple books in this book that I haven't read, but like they all like fit into some kind of way that somebody got either injured or hurt, and it's really weird. I saw where somebody said that this was very predictable. I call BS. I did not predict this. The person I buddy read this with did guess who it was, but I think she was mostly joking because it was like so far-fetched it wouldn't make any sense, but it did at the end. 5 out of 5 stars for Overdue. I'm not going to say much about it. I've already done a full review on it. I absolutely recommend this all day. I also want to point out that a lot of these Richie Tankersley books is the main protagonist woman is usually very hysterical, very crazy, and just like, oh my god, you know, like getting lost and hurt or something. And there's a guy in here that is this girl's childhood friend, and he has a very dry sense of humor. It works so good, even better than The Mall. Again, this is probably the best book Richie Tankersley has written to me. And I don't see it being topped by anything because, again, I'm a sucker for library scary stuff. And this takes place in a library. I don't see anything beating this. Yeah, 5 out of 5 stars for me. Yeah, I don't know if I mentioned it or not, but The Boy Next Door is also 5 out of 5. I'm pretty sure I did, but yeah, getting old is bad. And we were at number 1. This is my favorite book that I read this year. This is Fear Street Seniors In Too Deep, and it's kind of good because I had another Fear Street Seniors as one of the worst books I read this year. So yeah, it kind of comes full circle. This is actually insane. This is basically The Curse of Camp Cold Lake, but adult or teen. Yeah. If you guys ever read The Curse of Camp Cold Lake, there is a scene where I think the girl's name is Della, is riding this boat trying to run over a girl named Sarah, and the girl goes underneath the boat and it hits her life jacket. One of the best chapter cliffhangers ever. And there's a scene like this in this book, except they get thrown into the boat propeller and chopped up into a million little pieces, and it's absolutely amazing. There's actually descriptions of the body parts flying into the water, splashing. Absolutely insane. Never thought I'd see anything like that in a Fear Street book. I posted this on Goodreads, and somebody actually told me that it was ghostwritten by, I don't remember who, but I don't think, I mean, it could have been. I'm not sure. I'm not going to take anything away from Stein if it was. But a lot of these seniors books do seem very ghostwritten. And this is no exception. Or this is the exception. Because there's a lot of scenes in this book that felt like Stein wrote it. There's a scene where a girl is like floating in the water, and this guy goes and grabs her, and she turns around and looks, and she's actually just floating, like she's okay. And I swear I've seen that in multiple books. Multiple plot lines going on at one time. There's this creepy kid that wears a mask, and there's a twist that's basically it happened in another book. So actually, there's a book that I mentioned in this list that had kind of a similar twist. So if I had to guess, I'd say Stein did write this, but I could be wrong. Not to take anything away from the person if they actually did, but yeah. In Too Deep's awesome. It's basically, again, The Curse of Camp Cold Lake, but Fear Street edition. Yeah. Ooh. Sorry. Yeah, I give this a 5 out of 5 stars as well. Obviously, it's the best book I read this year. Yeah. I was going to mention my book goals for next year, for 2024, but I guess I'm going to do that in my TBR because I didn't look and see what my previous goals were. I know that some of them were like read a Shivers book, read a Give Yourself Goosebumps book, it was something like that, and I don't remember exactly what they were, so I will be doing that, God willing, in my next video for the TBR for New Year's. But yeah, that's going to be it for me, guys. This is my best books of the year, and I'm super excited to start 2024 on a new slate and see what we can come up with. Yeah, what did you guys think about any of these books? Please let me know in the comments below. Again, there's probably some 4 out of 5 stars books that I missed out on that I didn't include in here. That, again, some of the Give Yourself Goosebumps, they could be interchanged. There's 1 or 2 that I read that I kind of thought about putting on here, but I didn't. Just know that there's still 4 out of 5 stars in my eyes. So, yeah. That's going to be it for me, guys. Please let me know in the comments below. What did you think about this? What kind of books did you guys read that was like 5 stars? Or what was your favorite book of the year? You can name 1. You don't have to name 10 like I did. But yeah, that's going to be it for me, guys. Thank you. Bye-bye.